Hi, my name is Isaac Archuleta, and today I'd like to talk about open relationships because many of us are finding this topic very interesting, wondering if it's a fit for who we are and for our current relationships. As a psychotherapist, I get to talk a lot about opening up relationships, polyamory, or even just inviting a third into a relationship for a sexual rendezvous. A lot of us consider, what does it take to have a healthy open relationship? A lot of us are even kind of desperate, saying, can I please have an open relationship? And so I'd like to identify two major motivations that have a pretty important trajectory for us. The first one is when we're part of a healthy, secure attachment style. When we have a healthy attachment style, what we're operating from is this deeply rooted sense that we belong, that we matter. When we think of an earned, secure attachment, we think of a couple that when they're together, they feel incredibly seen, safe, soothed, and secure. To feel seen is this idea that I'm important to you and I hold significance. Safety, in my opinion, means not only am I physically safe in the same space with you, but we have a sophisticated boundary system and we can cherish one another without harming one another. A sophisticated boundary system also means I am not willing to hurt you because you're not willing to hurt me, and vice versa. We protect one another from our own wounding. To feel secure is this beautiful idea, in my opinion. It's maybe one of my favorite of the four S's. This idea of security says, I am permanently fixed in your heart, in your mind, and in your world, and I cannot be erased. Security gives us this beautiful sense of what we call relational esteem. When my relational esteem is high, it means that I do not waver. I'm not insecure about the stability of our relationship. Obviously, the inverse, when I am insecure about our relationship and I kind of wonder if you're going to fall in love with someone more than you are with me, my relational esteem is really low, and this is a beautiful petri dish for jealousy. The fourth S is being soothed. When I am feeling insecure, or I've had a rough day, or I've had a great day and I need to celebrate, do you not only mirror my emotions, but do you enter that emotional context with me so that I can express my emotions with you by my side? When we have an earned, secure attachment, I think this is maybe one of the most healthy relational atmospheres. It's the best climate to open up a relationship if it means that opening up your relationship is an expansion of your love rather than a way to kind of prop your love up. And that's the second route. A lot of us live in emotionally dry relational climates. We're starving to feel like we belong, like we matter. Some of us are even starving to have thrill and an exciting sex life. And out of this starvation, we began to wonder if there's someone who can meet our emotional needs exactly the way we dreamed of. And that's kind of the key word. The word here, dream. It almost becomes a fantasy of who can satisfy our emotional needs. And we begin scanning the horizon, wondering if we can find that one person who can activate our soul and fill us with vitality and thrill and spontaneity one more time. When we feel this emotionally dry climate kind of affecting who we are, not only as an individual, but who we are in relationships and the nature of our relationships, we can feel very afraid that we're going to have to live in this boring relationship for the rest of our lives. And this will help us pop up into fantasy land and dream about this one person who can really satisfy us. Some of us start to dream about what it would feel like to fall in love with or sleep with other people. Others start to download Grindr in the secrecy when their partners aren't around, having secret text conversations or maybe even personal secretive rendezvous. When we live in this emotionally dry environment, one of the things that I want to do before you open up your relationship is make sure that you can repair that emotional environment by activating some emotional intimacy, which means you're going to have to start getting vulnerable. Vulnerable about how dry it feels, vulnerable about what you're craving, vulnerable about maybe what your fantasy looks like, and maybe it's time to even enter couples therapy to help undo some of that really deeply entrenched resentment that can just feel like residue that will never leave. All this to say, open relationships can be very healthy for some and very unhealthy for others. When we use open relationships as a way of expanding our horizon with deep roots in our primary relationship, that I think is probably the best emotional environment to open up a relationship. Obviously, when we're kind of hurting and an open relationship feels more like a remedy than an expansion, I just want to encourage you to maybe hit the pause and work on the ways in which you're creating or not creating emotional intimacy. If the vulnerability isn't there, or if it's scary, or if emotional intimacy feels a little awkward or too threatening, that pattern may affect not only the relationship you're in, but it might have a trickle-down effect into every other type of relationship you create. We are incredibly resilient people. We have everything we need inside of us already, but sometimes we just need a little primer to get it activated so that we can live out of our full authenticity and courage to let others love us just as we love them. So, if you're thinking about opening up your relationship, just take a temperature of your emotional climate. This may be the number one thing that'll help guide your relationship in the direction that really leaves all people involved feeling seen, safe, soothed, and secure.